apart from our campus in Sha Tin. So we spend a lot of time here with classes, forums, events, and so on and so forth. My name is Lawrence Chen. I'm the head of marketing and student recruiting for the MBA programs of the Chinese University of Hong Kong. We are most delighted to have an elite professionals joining us this evening, sharing with us his thoughts and insight about preparing yourself for career advancement and especially the challenging times. So I'm most honored to introduce Mr. Francis Mok, a very seasoned HR professional, has been in the profession of HR for quite a number of years, very well known in the HR field, and he's currently the president of the Hong Kong Institute of HR Management, and also the I think it's your vice president of the Federation of HR Management in Asia Pacific and worldwide president. I'm sorry, and well, he's an alumni of the MBA program of the Chinese University of Hong Kong, and he also received his bachelor's degree from McGill University. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Francis. I'm sure you want to hear from him rather than me. So Francis.
Okay, let me do a logistic check. Is there anyone here who don't speak Chinese? Hello? Who don't read speak Chinese? All right. Okay, we have. Okay, so I'll stick to my original plan to present in English. But I do have some material in Chinese and English bilingual. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. In the coming 40 minutes or so, I'm going to share with you some update information about the job market, and I also share with you some do's and don'ts about career development. Okay? If you have any questions, I think we can save it till the end. My presentation will be around 40 minutes, so we'll have some time for question and answer. Although the schedule is from 7 to 8:30, I plan to let you go before 10 past 8. Okay. So if you have any appointment or dinner appointment, you can go ahead. Okay. First of all, I want to share with you the story of a graduate trainee at an interview. My company started recruiting graduate trainees from last year onwards. So we have already started a graduate trainee program. Last year, when my recruitment manager interviewed one of the candidates at the XX University in China, that was what happened. Now this young boy, a very smart boy, he passed the numerical reasoning test, verbal reasoning test, and the psychometric test. So he was given the opportunity to be interviewed. Now, in the morning, this young chap walked into the interview room, and my recruitment manager asked him a lot of questions, and of course he did well. He answered, and then, like most recruitment managers, the last question was, "What are your expectation of this job?" And this young boy said, "Well, I want a salary of 1 million renminbi. I expect at least one business trip paid by the company per year. And also, I want, it would be nice that I can have a quarter, right? Somewhere to live, nearby the office. And of course, it would be nice to have a car." My recruitment manager paused a little bit. He laughed and said, "Okay, we've decided to give you 2 million renminbi per year, 2 business trips, company paid, business class per year. We'll give you an apartment nearby the office. Oh, by the way, you can take your parents to live with you, because this boy came from somewhere else outside Shanghai." And then the recruitment manager said, "We'll give you a car, oh, and a chauffeur, a driver as well." And this boy almost jumped out of his chair and said, "You must be kidding." And my recruitment manager said, "Of course, you started it." So this is a good illustration. Of course, it's not exactly real. I emphasize a little bit. I exaggerate a little bit, but you can see that for the new generation, Gen Y job applicants, there can be a big mismatch between the expectation of what one can offer and what the companies are willing to pay. Okay, that should make a start for my presentation and sharing tonight. Okay, I'm going to share with you 5 things. One, of course, as the president of the Hong Kong Institute of Human Resource Management, please allow me 3 minutes to advertise, to tell you a little bit more about the Hong Kong Institute of Human Resource Management. Then I'll talk about the Hong Kong economy and employment market overview. Also, the government just announced the manpower projection for 2010 to 2018 2 days ago. So I have this off the press, off the press information for you. Then we'll talk about yourself. How do you map out your career development, and also how you manage your career for success. Now, I'll first of all introduce to you the Hong Kong Institute of Human Resource Management. For those of you who have particular interest in the profession of being in HR. Anyone who's working in HR now? All right, 1. Or training and development? Okay, 2. All right. Now, if you're interested, please consider joining the institute. The Hong Kong Institute of Human Resource Management was established in the year 1977. So this year we are celebrating our 35th anniversary. We currently have 4,700 members, including 500 big corporations and small corporations as corporate members. The purpose of the institute is to develop, maintain, and enhance professional HR management standards and to increase the perceived value and influence of HR profession. So last year we've been very active in collecting members' views on the minimum wage, if you still remember. You know the hot topic this year? It's about the standard working hours. Right? Now our work target, there's 6 targets we have. To enhance professionalism of HR practitioners by running a professional membership scheme, providing professional training, organize professional standards examination for members and members-to-be, conducting HR-related researches and surveys, and also provide professional-related social and economic information. We also collect and reflect members' views on government new policies and practices and try to influence the government. Being a member of the Asian Pacific Federation of Human Resource Management and World Federation of People Management Associations, we participate actively to promote Hong Kong as a hub of HR. Now, for those of you who are interested to get more information, this is my second slide and last slide about the institute. Okay. Right. Okay. What is employment now? What is career? Is career the same as a job? People will tell me probably not, all right? A job, now we all have to work because we have bills to pay. We have to recharge our autobus, we have to pay our water bills, we have to pay our rent, we have to buy food, right? So we all need a job. But is a job a career? Probably not, right? Now when we talk about career development or career advancement, the first thing that you need is a job. That is employment. And what is the nature of employment? How many of you are students? Okay, most of you are having a job. What is employment? What is the nature of employment? Simply put, employment is a transaction. The employer is the buyer. We employees are sellers. We sell our knowledge, experience, and contribution, hopefully contribute value to the organization. And the buyer will look at what value we can bring about and offer us a package. Is that so? So, in a nutshell, employment is a transaction between 2 parties, the employer and the employee. So you will have a perfect match if you know what the buyer wants or needs. Okay? Now, if I give you $10 and ask you to buy like Xingjiao Chao Mai, is there anywhere in Hong Kong you can pay $10 and get a dish, a pack of Xingjiao Chao Mai? You know that? Where?
OK convenience store.
OK convenience store, 波仔米粉. Then you know where to get it, right? But if you go into a peninsula or Mandarin, is it possible? It's very unlikely, right? So you have to look at what you have, and you have to look at what the market offers. So as Sun Ji said, right? If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every battle, victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat. 一勝一敗. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. So now there are people who say what distorted what Sun Ji said. You know, they say 知己知彼，百戰百勝 is wrong. If you go back to the origin, it says 百戰不殆. That means you don't die, right? Now the thing is, in any transaction, you have to know the market and you have to analyze whether yourself fit into the market. So let's look at the market. Okay, let's look at the Hong Kong economy and employment market overview for the last 15 years. Now this is kind of complicated. I need to talk a little bit through this. Now, do you see that there are five lines on the graph? You see the 5 lines? All right. Now, starting from 1997, and I have the update figure just from days ago up to 2012. The first quarter. Now there are four indices. The red line is the pay trend. The green line is the consumer price index. And the purple, is that purple? Yeah. The purple line is the GDP of Hong Kong, and also the blue line is the unemployment rates. Now, before 1997, how many of you started working before 1997, other than myself? Right? We have a gentleman and a few there. Before 1997, the job market was so good. There was nothing called negative asset, right? For Jichan, never existed. So once you bought a house, you could expect the price of the property to go up only. But the first hit came by in end of 1997. Okay. Now let's look at the GDP first. The GDP dropped from an annual growth of 11% to a negative 5% growth. It was a very bad year. Property price depreciated, right, or appreciated. When we thought that the economy was going to go up a little bit, suddenly we were hardly hit by the IT bubble, remember? In the year 2000, 2001. And then it kept declining. When we thought that it would be slightly better, what hit us in Hong Kong? It was SARS. It further dropped to minus 3.3% growth. Okay, fortunately, after 2003, we saw a turn. Okay, the economy started picking up again. Until, wow, it peaked at 2007. But what happened in the year 2008? We were hit again by the financial tsunami. So 2009, a lot of employers actually froze their accounts and stopped recruiting. A very bad half year in 2009. But after June, the economy started picking up again until 2010. And what happened in 2011? Oh, we're innocent. No, nothing happened to this part of the world, but the other side of the globe, right? The Euro crisis, and also the American crisis, financial crisis, and also the European crisis. Okay, is this going to come down, go flat, or go up? What's your best guess? Towards the end of 2011, people were saying, well, we're going to have a very bad 2012. So a lot of companies plan to stop recruiting, freeze their headcount, but it didn't seem to be the case. Now it is March, right? The employment market didn't seem to have slowed down. Now the others also follow. If you look at the unemployment rates, the unemployment rates went up in 1999 to 6.2%. You know the definition of unemployment rate? It's the number of people in the 劳动人口 labor market, right, who do not have a job. who are actively looking for a job but haven't got a job, right? Over the total population of labor. It peaked at 7.9 in 2003 after SARS, and then it came down. And then went up to 5.4 again, and then it came down to 3.6, 3.4, 3.3, and the latest one is 3.2. So it doesn't look like the employment market has slowed down anyhow. Okay, let's take a look at the unemployment rate and also the underemployment rate. Now, anybody who knows underemployment rate? Unemployment rate is easy, I just explained. What is underemployment? Okay, underemployment rate by definition is
35 hours, less than 35 hours per week.
Bingo, thank you. In any 7 days, if the total number of hours worked is 35 hours or less, it's defined as underemployment. Now, assuming that you're not taking no pay leave, right? You want to work, but the market doesn't offer you. Now, the underemployment rate has been declining slightly to 1.5%, and the unemployment rate dropped to 3.2% in the first quarter of 2012. Now, that actually tells us something. How is the employment intention of the employers? Are they employing? Looks like it. Are there vacancies not filled? Looks like it. So in the war for talent, it's the talent who won the war, not the employers. Okay, the new figures. The government just announced the manpower projection. It's announced through the Hong Kong Labour and Welfare Bureau 2 days ago. Okay, first of all, the finding is Hong Kong's manpower supply is projected to increase at an average annual rate of 0.6% from currently 3.42 million in 2010 to 3.58 million in 2018. But the labor requirement, the manpower requirement, during the same period is projected to increase at an annual rate of 1.1%, right, to 3.6 million in 2018. So what can you tell the people who are entering into the job market? Is it a good sign? Is it a good sign for employers? Not quite. But for those job seekers, looks like overall this is something good, a good trend. So for those who are looking for a job, don't worry, right? You are in control. But the thing is, how about job match? Now it is projected that the overall manpower shortage is 14,000 people in 2018. That means there will be a lot of jobs. You cannot find people to fill the positions. Now the government has to think about what the government policy needed to be changed in order to fill these positions. And also looking at the industries or the economic sectors that are expected to grow fastest. The first one being financial services, 2.5%. Although we heard bad news about financial institutes, the banks, redundant people. The thing is, a lot of banks, financial institutes, are still recruiting at the same time. The second on the list and the third one on the list are Thai, construction, and IT and communication. If you further look at the four industries, remember in the year 2002 and 2003 budget speech, the chief executive actually announced the four pillars of industry. Hong Kong rely on these four pillars: financial services, trading and logistics, professional services, tourism. Which of these pillars require most people? Let's look. Okay, the biggest number is trading and logistics. Those who are in the trade account for close to 800,000 people. And the forecast or the projected increase up to 2018 is another 21,000. That is an increase of 0.3%. Now, which means for those who are in the trade, don't worry. For new joiners, probably you don't want to join the logistics and trading and logistics industry. And the fastest growth industries are tourism and financial services, followed by professional services. Okay, also I want to talk about the 6 industries. In the 2009 and 2010 policy address, the chief executive actually announced these 6 major industries, including education services, medical services, testing and certification services, environmental industries, innovation and technology, also culture and creative industries. Let's look at the figures. Where do you find most people in the trade, and which one can you see biggest growth? Now, the biggest number looks like culture and creative industries. Hong Kong currently, there are the requirement in 2015 is forecasted to be slightly over 200,000, followed by the other industries, medical services and education services. But in terms of biggest growth, the projected average annual change. Now, the innovation and technology industry is growing at a rate of 4.5%, followed by education services, 4.4%. So if you want to further study and take a degree in, take a PhD, that looks like a good chance till you find that you'll get a job, right? Or if you want to be a secondary school teacher, looks like this is going to be an industry you can join. Okay, after seeing the figures of the job industry or the manpower requirements and projection, let's look at ourselves to see if we are ready and to take this match. How many of you have gone through a proper career planning or development process? Well, the service is provided by your school, university. There is a career center. How many of you have visited your career center? What did you get out of them? Okay. Did you get any information about your interests, your strengths and weaknesses, and indication of where you should go? No. Were you happy?
But I found myself the career goal is quite specific.
Okay. Okay. Let me tell you a story about myself. As Lawrence introduced, I got my degree from a Canadian university. I studied engineering. I could not imagine 30 years ago when I first entered into the workforce, I would become the president of the Hong Kong Institute of Human Resource Management. So something happened in between. I joined MTR in the year 1981. I started my career as an engineer. I moved up, and I was an engineering manager in 1991, supervising a workforce. I'm a specialist in train maintenance. I repair trains. No trains? The thing which roll on wheels. But there was an opportunity when I had the opportunity to be assessed about my career interests. And quite interestingly and shocking to me, my career advisor told me, Francis, you should be in the people business. You should be 搞人, you should 搞人. So it was shocking to me. It took me a long time to think over it. And eventually I observed myself. Now in those days, I wasn't as lucky as you were, because career counseling is like alien to us, right? People of my age. There's no career counseling, so you have to find your way. A lot of times, our career or our profession were dictated by who? Selected by who? Our parents, right? So it was quite natural, because in Hong Kong I went to a technical school. It was out of good intention, because my parents thought that if I could go into a technical school, then I could secure my job. At least I can be a technician, right? I don't have to suffer from hunger. And naturally, because of my background, I went to university. What did I study? Engineering. So with a degree in engineering, what kind of jobs would I be looking for in Hong Kong? Engineering. So I spent 10 years working in engineering before I actually moved into HR. And I started my career in training and development. And then further, I work my way up. I'll talk more about this. Now, this is DIY, right? I'll show you how you can help yourself to map your career. The first step is, now we have looked at the external environment earlier, right? This is the three-step approach. The first step is you self-assess. Assess yourself. What do you do in self-assessment and what are the objectives? You enable yourself to know what suits you better. The second stage is self-analysis. You analyze your strengths, your weaknesses, your interests, your ability, and your aspiration. And then the third step is career planning. So very simple. But let me stop here. Okay. I wanted to tell you a story, but let me carry on and I'll tell you a story a bit later. In self-assessment, it actually helped you to identify who you are. Right? Remember there was a Jackie Chan film called Who Am I? Right? So the first step in self-assessment and the first question that it addresses is who am I? You know, what is the most difficult question for you in a job interview? Not tell me about your strengths and weaknesses. This is too common now. What else? The worst question is, tell me about yourself. I have seen graduates telling me, oh, I'm from CUHK or Hong Kong U, Year 3 engineering. Some even say I'm a girl. I can tell she had long hair and she was quite feminine. And at the end of the day, after 3 minutes, I could not remember even her name, because I've seen 10 identical candidates like her. Right? She was not able to tell me who she was. Not her name, not her sex, gender, not her education, but who she was. So actually, the first thing is, go back, think about this, who am I? What motivates me? Where are my hot buttons? When people, and also the other side is, what puts me off? Sometimes you see people getting very annoyed and very emotional just because of what you said, and you don't know why, because it was not out of bad intention, just that the wrong button was pushed, and then people get very upset. So you go and ask yourself, what puts you off? And then, what suits me best? I'm going to tell you a story of my brother and a good friend of mine. All right, my brother Daniel is he's a car fanatic. He loves cars, right? Every time he drove my car, he would say, the engine is a bit high, very rough. And then he would, drive it at a high revolution and do all sorts of crazy things, And then, really, the car came back a lot better. He said, whatever he did, he made use of his techniques to remove the carbon deposit from the engine wall, which I could not understand as an engineer. So he's so crazy about cars. Even his telephone ringtone is a Formula One, Formula One race roar. Okay, he likes cars so much. I have another good friend, Michael. Michael is a good friend. He is the technical manager in charge of maintenance for a very famous European car. It starts with V, right? Or a 3-letter car brand. So one day we were, the three of us, Daniel, remember Daniel? Who's Daniel? My brother. Michael? Yeah, and Francis, right? We were having a drink after work. And Michael looked a bit sad, a bit sad. And Daniel asked, what happened? Why are you sort of unhappy? He said, I'll be away for 2 weeks. By the way, Michael loves his wife and his kids very much, right? So Michael said, well, I have to be away for 2 weeks, so I'll miss my family. And Daniel said, where are you going? He said, I'm going to Germany. They just launched a new sports car. You can imagine what Daniel looks like at the moment. His eyes were wide open. So what do you do in Germany? Well, I have to test drive the car. You know, I have to disassemble the car and put it back. Daniel was, oh, who pays for this? Michael was looking at him as if he sits somewhere from Mars or, you know, Venus. What do you mean? It's a business trip. Of course the company pays. Oh, who pays for the flight? Michael was, are you crazy? Of course I travel business class. The company pays. So at this point, imagine what Daniel would be. He was almost swallowing his saliva, like, wow, he was so eager. To him, this is a dream job, right? He's so eager. He was saying, oh, I don't need to be paid. Just get me onto the plane and fly me over to Germany and test drive the new X66, you know, sports car. Now, and Michael, because he would be missing his family so much, he was not happy, right? Now, if the jobs, now we're talking about eligibility, of course. Daniel hasn't got the technique, knowledge and skills to be a test car driver or even manage the team to maintain the cars. But if he's eligible, who is likely to be a better technical manager? Why, Daniel?
Because he likes doing this.
Because
he likes doing the job.
That's right. The thing is, if you do things that you like, the chance of your being success in the job is much higher. So the first piece of advice to graduates, find out what you like. Go for it. Go for your dreams. But how do I find out what I like? Okay. Now let me ask you, this is a question. A high-performance employee, do you have high-performance employees in your company? Of course, that's me. Okay. Are they happy? Are they happy? Sometimes. Sometimes. Most of the time, right? Now, let me tell you an extreme. We sometimes see celebrities, people like Whitney Houston, or earlier John Godwin, right? These people, how did they die? Is it because of the pressure? All right. Okay. Now the official diagnosis was overdose of drugs, right? The abuse use of what's called things that for your mouth, right? Those pills, right? Now, why do people like them? You know, celebrating the peak of the performance, they suffer from a lot of pressure and then committed suicide in a way. Why? A lot of times it's because inside this is not something they enjoy doing. So there was a classical case in the 80s or 70s. A very successful comedian. He laughed. He made everybody laugh in the United States. He was so good. He was very young, age 27 or 28. And then one night suddenly he was found dead because of overdose of drug with overdose of alcohol. And if you look back why he was suffering, if you look at his personality, he actually was an introvert. Nobody knew that. It was only discovered after he died. Now think about an introvert who had to sing and dance in front of people and make everybody laugh. The kind of pressure inside will actually kill the person. So instead of, before one kills, he killed himself, actually was drinking a lot and taking a lot of abuse drugs. Now, so are employees who excel at their job likely to be happy in what they do? Not exactly. Now, there are three things that determine whether you're happy at work or not. One is, now, your ability. Now, if you don't have the ability, you're feared, right? You don't feel comfortable. But if you can master the job, you have the ability, the skills, and the knowledge. That's very important that you're eligible to do a good job. And the second thing is value. Value is, I interpret value as two things. One is your beliefs. Is the company ethical? Do I follow it? Or is the company making quick money? Do I want to work for a company that makes quick money and pay no attention to social responsibilities? That's one interpretation of value. The other interpretation of value is the value it brings to you. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when you ask graduates what would be the hottest industry that they wanted to go into before the global financial crisis. Finance, in particular, iBanks. Everybody says, I want to be an iBanker. Why? Because of the monetary value it brings about. Was everyone suitable to be an iBanker? Not really. And the other thing is life interest. Now I'm going to talk about, anybody heard of this term, life interest? Okay. Ability and values can give you happiness and satisfaction for a little while, but only life interest will keep most people happy and fulfilled over the long term. What are life interests? Life interests are not hobbies. Life interests are do not determine what people are good at. So good IQ doesn't mean good life interest. Okay, they are long-held, emotionally driven passion, intricately entwined with personality. So it's born of an intermediate mix of nature and nurture. So mostly it's born with you, and part of it is how your upbringing is. And also it drives what kind of activities that make them happy. They make people happy. Well, I love to tell stories. I'm going to share with you another story. Okay. Now, I can move around with this. Easier. Okay. Can you hear me? All right. Okay. Okay. There was a lady, a young girl, who did so well in chemistry and mathematics. Her parents were convinced that she would be a good medical doctor, and so she followed the guidance. She believed that she could be a good medical doctor too. So she got very good results at high school, and she got very good results at university, and she graduated as a medical doctor. Well, wasn't it nice? That was not the end. She even became more famous and successful, becoming I can never pronounce it properly, neurologist, I can never pronounce it properly. some medical doctor who operates on your brain, right? How much can you charge a patient for that? Doctor, you're going to open my skull, right, and operate on my brain. Which doctor would I go for? The cheapest one? Probably not, right? I go for the best one. And how much did the best one charge you? She was talking at conferences very often. She was recognized as one of the best neurologists in the world. But suddenly, at the age of 42, she quit. She went back to her hometown and started her own business. What was her business? She opened a nursery for young kids. I'm going to come back to this story and ask you, amongst the 8 deeply embedded life interests, what are the 2 most likely that she has, right? Okay. The 8 deeply embedded life interests for people drawn to business careers. Oh, by the way, this is a research done on thousands of people by 2 Harvard professors 20 years ago. Right? This is long lasting. Right? The 8 life interests. The first one being application of technology. Now, I have to look at the definition very clearly so as to give you the real picture. Okay, application of technology measures interest that are often associated with engineering, production, operations, and the general use of technology to accomplish business objectives. Who are you thinking of? Somebody who died?
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is probably has a very strong life interest in application of technology. The second life interest is quantitative analysis. It actually measures interests that are realized through problem solving that relies on mathematical analysis. Somebody who's filthy rich, playing around with numbers. Sorry? I heard somebody? Warren Buffett? Or mostly the financial controllers of your company, right? If they are happy, okay? Next one, theory, development, and conceptual thinking. They measure the interest involving broadly conceptual approaches to business problems. Who are they?
Professors at business school.
Yeah, professors at business schools. They are likely, you can find more of them in the business school, amongst business school professors. Creative production. Okay, I don't have to explain this. It measures interest realized through highly creative activities such as development of new products, marketing concepts, generation of new business ideas. Where do you find these people? Facebook, okay. The creator, the founder of Facebook, right? Even Microsoft, Bill Gates. Right? These are people who are creative. You find a lot of these people, happy people in marketing, right? Okay, next one, counseling and mentoring. Now, counseling and mentoring measures interest that involve developing relationship as a critical part of business work, such as coaching, training, and mentoring. Where do you find these people? Schools? Social workers. All right. Can you think of a name? Would Mother Teresa fit into this? Other than the religion. Okay. Next one, managing people relationship. It actually measures interests that involve developing relations. Developing crucial part of business like training and mentoring. Yeah, okay. These are more like diplomats, right? They build relationships. Which group of people, which industry would you find more of these people? HR, PR, anything relates with R. Any profession with the name relations in it. Sales, also good sales. Okay. Enterprise control. People who like to control. Enterprises. Which group of professionals do you find most of these people? The CXOs. C whatever O's. Chief Operating Officer, Chief Executive Officers, President and CEO, Group Managing Directors. Right? These are people who sit on top of the hierarchy and they enjoy it. Okay, the last one, influence through language and ideas, measures interest in exercising influence through the skillful use of written and spoken languages. You mentioned that trait. Where do you find mostly these people? Translator, writers, okay. Teachers. Writers, yes. Teachers. Journalists and sales. Right? They influence your buying habits. Impulse buying. Now, okay. If I ask you to look at yourselves, look inside, think about what excites you in the past, what you enjoy mostly. Can you identify one or two or even three life interests that is deeply embedded in yourself? Okay, it's very difficult to talk about yourself. Talk about the lady, the neurologist that I mentioned at the age of 42. She quit the professional job, went back to hometown. What industry did she pick to enter into? Nursery. And what role did she play? she was the chief executive of the nursery. And like many stories, and she lived happily forever. Right. So, guess what are the two dominant life interests that you guess exist in her? Okay. Well, guess. Who said mentoring? Okay, mentoring. Anybody else? Mentoring and coaching? Mentoring and counseling? Okay, right, good. What is the other one? Enterprise control. Anybody else? Enterprise control? Okay, right. Enterprise control. So she was very happy because she is doing something that she enjoys from deep inside. Would she be happy? Would she be groaning before she goes to work? Or will she wake up and looking forward to go to work? You know, the best job in the world is a job that you tell people, I don't work here, I play here, and I get paid. That's the dream job, right? Okay, the last thing I want to touch upon is about managing your career for success. Now, there are things that not too many people talk about. It's about eligibility and suitability. Okay, by the face of it, what do you understand by eligibility? If I say you're eligible for the job, what comes to your mind? What makes you eligible for the job? Your skills? Qualification somewhere? Yeah, qualification? Where? Experience? Qualification, experience, knowledge, skills, language proficiency. Now these are the things that make you eligible for the job. What about suitability? I just talked about it. A match of your life interest to the job requirement, to the role, right? So now, there may be the tea lady who's more not eligible to do my job, but more suitable to do my job. Just that she may not be given the opportunity to be educated. You know what I mean? And if she had the opportunity to do the HR director's job, she would do a more happy job or better job than I do. Okay? Now let's look at, let's look at eligibility. That explains what employers are looking for. They are actually looking for background and qualification, your internship experience. As employers, this play a very important part. Now most of all of you are already in the job market, so this may not play an important part. But for those job seekers who are coming out of school, this plays a very important part. Extracurricular activities, individual performance, and aptitude, which means your intellectual capability, reasoning capability. When we talk about suitability, one of the things that come up as life interest, your personality, your life, your cultural fit, your aspiration, and your personal values. These are the things that employers, smart employers, will look for. And that's why sometimes in recruitment interviews, they put you through psychometric tests, so as to map your preference to the job requirements, the job profiles. Okay, now what are the other things that employers look for? They are the competencies, including communication skills, analytical and organizing skills, IT skills, your ability to adapt to the working environment, multitasking. This is not for me, but for Gen Y. How many Gen Ys are there in the room? Who are Gen Y? Those who are born after 1980. Okay, that's one here, two there. So they're much better at multitasking. Interpersonal ability, leadership, management skills, problem solving, creativity, and teamwork. The other things that employers look for, the values, they are integrity, ethics, adaptability, dedication, diligence, reliability, responsibility, your attitude, positive attitude, being professional, confidence, learning agility, and clear about self-exploration and career development. So when I interview fresh graduates, if they are able to tell me what they aspire to
I want your job.
in 15 years, I will start loving that particular person. Right? Whether he or she can reach that stage or not, it doesn't really matter, because they have a goal, they have a life goal. All right? Okay. Now, this is a piece of advice for young professionals. What takes you here today may not take you any further. Now, this is quite natural for anyone entering into the job market. You start your career as a professional, right? You don't manage people. But as you work your way up, you start managing people, interact with people, you become a manager. And hopefully, before you retire, some of you will become business executives. So what takes us up the ladder? Firstly, in the first few years when we enter into the job market, technical skills, functional skills, or managing tasks, dominance. If you work hard, if you solve problems, achieve results much faster and more effectively and efficiently, the chance of you moving up the career ladder is much faster. Agree? But you cannot just rely on your technical or functional skills to move up. Because when you move up the career ladder, people managing skills or interpersonal skills come in. There's a classical mistake that many professional companies commit. I've seen a company, an accounting firm. The accounting firm had a very good auditor. He's so tough. He could find any problem with the accounts, right? Which nobody else could find. So he did his job so well. He was promoted to be the senior auditor very soon. And because he did it so well, the company rewarded him to be the chief auditor. Okay, so he was still doing a very good job as the chief auditor because he could find faults nobody else could. So the company could not reward him in any other promotion. So he was promoted to be the head of finance. Okay. Why? Because he was using his professional auditing skills to manage people. What went wrong? Every day he came to work. What would he be doing? Finding mistakes among people. So catching people doing the wrong things, not appreciating, not being considerate, right? Not encouraging. What's even worse is this company has suffered double losses. The company lost the best auditor and carried with the company the worst people manager. Could the company fire him? Probably not. He did nothing wrong. It's a wrong management decision. Now, this did not happen very often because management are very, very clever nowadays. So when you reach the point of ultimate senior position in your professional role, if you want to move further up, you have to break the glass ceiling. You have to use another set of skills, interpersonal skills. Now, being a people manager, a good people manager would move you up the career ladder. But then again, there's another glass ceiling. What else is required to take you up? Strategic skills. If you are a director, you better direct. You don't manage. If you keep on managing your team instead of doing a director's job, your subordinates will get very upset, right? They'll fold their hands and watch you doing the day-to-day management. But there's no clear direction. So doing the wrong things, doing the right things, wrong things right, because the direction is not correct. Okay, the last few slides. Now, my last piece of advice. Failing to plan your career is planning to fail. So it's very important. First of all, you understand the external environment, and then you look at yourself. Now, you will leave this room with more questions than the time you came in. Then I've achieved my goal. Because you will start thinking about, what are my life interests? Where am I going? How do I fit into the future? Looking at the demand in different industries and trades. Okay? Losers, they always find excuses. They blame their failure due to fate. 我運唔好。Oh, it's bad luck. No. But humble winners always say, oh, I'm just lucky. No, it's not luck. It's a lot of luck, is a lot of hard work behind the winner. Just that they give credit to the luck. Okay. Now the last piece of advice. Okay. Success of your career rely on the 3 letters. CEO. You know what CEO is? Very good. Or Chief Entertainment Officer. Okay. C stands for capability. Keep on learning. If you have your attitude right and you have good agility, there's almost nothing you cannot do. Okay? So make use of the time. Learn, keep on learning like a sponge in water. Absorb new knowledge. The second thing is exposure. Exposure is your visibility. In a company, when the CEO considers the project leader of new projects, will the CEO go to the human resource management department and go through the files, personal files? Probably not. How would names come out? I remember that young lady who chaired the annual dinner last Christmas. She did a good job. I think she can be a good project leader. Let me talk to her. What happened here? Because the lady exposed herself and did a good job. A lot of times, business are not done through tender invitation, but through friends, connections. And so, being visible in any organization is very important. If you build your capability and you have good visibility, then when the opportunity comes, you're just right there to grab it. You don't cry over spilled milk and say, oh, I should have done that, I should have done this. Okay? So the last piece of advice, build your capability, enhance your exposure, then grab your opportunity. Thank you.
Any questions? Anybody interested in asking questions?
Don't ask for a job, by the way.
Okay, I got back from UK.
Okay.
And I'm graduated from UK. I've been unemployed for a while before. And then I found that like in Hong Kong, it's so difficult to get a job. Like I speak quite a bit languages, but they don't care. And like they care about the experience. Actually, it's like to say because my university helped me a lot to find a job in UK.
Right.
And I did get a job in UK. But because I got back because of my family, and when I got back, tried to get a job, it's so competitive here, and I think I meet all the requirements for the companies. But the problem is like, I don't know why, for a bit while, quite a lot of companies, they don't want me, especially the small companies, because quite a bit big companies want me, but I don't want to work for the bank. Like, I don't want to work for the bank. That's why I just reject a lot, but afterwards, I just can't find a job. There's no really direct networking between. The job I'm working at the moment, I didn't really through all this kind of website, job CV or whatsoever. I threw it from the bars.
Okay.
That's why I'm just like, what the solution can help all those kind of foreign students to come back to Hong Kong to work in this market.
Okay. Now, I think there are many things that you can start looking at, all right? Starting from today. First of all, I would say, do you have a clear aspiration? Okay. Do you know what the employers are looking for in terms of knowledge, skills, personality? Okay, that's one thing you should look at. And secondly, would you be able to get feedback from the recruiters?
And I found it so difficult. It's like, because for the like big companies, I can get is I reject them, so it doesn't matter. But like I like interview for the small companies. every time I did call for the feedbacks, they don't call me back.
Okay.
Like I kind of like I just don't understand. But I found that every time I answer one question, and I always get it wrong. It's like, what is your expected salary? And I always get it wrong.
Why? How do you know that it's
the
wrong?
first I would say, okay, okay, I know at the first time I know that I get it wrong just because I use the UK standard.
Okay.
Like, okay, the first time, okay, like that's why it's like, oh my god, you like asked for too much. And then the second time I said, okay, how about you name the price? And then he's just like, no, you name the price. And then we like struggle for a bit while, and it's like, okay, I named the price, and then not the first price, and then I deduct a little bit to like maybe 15,000 or something as a first square, like, and then they say.
Okay, let me give you some advices. If you focus on the package, let me give you a piece of advice as an HR professional. First of all, you can. There are reports available. Some of them are free from JobsDB or Monster.com or whatever. Roughly, you can find out the ballpark 50% of what if a graduate like yourself is paid. So that would be roughly the ballpark figure. Now, I would say if you pitch it right and say, well, I am expecting, for example, 20K, for example. Right? You know that is the 50 percentile, and then put it on top. But I think this experience is more important than pay. If you pitch it like that, you know, the second thing is, other than package, I can see the cultural misfit there. And people don't always say what they mean, and people don't always mean what they say. Do you know what I mean?
They will not want to tell you why you fail. They don't.
There's a cultural thing there.
Yeah, I asked them. They don't answer me.
It's very different in Hong Kong than in the UK or US.
Yeah, it's like a bit frustrating.
I can understand, right? You can talk to people who came back from the UK, who just got a job, like the lady sitting next to you. She graduated last year, came back from the UK. She did a bit of job search. Very tough, very tough. But look at the unemployment rate. It's 3.2%. That means anybody who's serious getting a job, something to do, will be able to get a job, right? Now the thing is, you have to strike a balance whether you want to start with any job, or you want really to pitch into the right career. So,
Can I respond?
yeah, please.
Okay, like for a bit while I can't get a job. I really try everything. I try wages, masseuse, everything you think, but they don't hire me. And I look at them, seriously, I can get really good wages, and then they're just like, it's always like that. You know what I mean? Like,
If I tell people I want to be a trainer, not a training manager, people will not offer me any job. I'm overqualified. Fitting. You can be, if you do not fit into the job, it can be you're too big for the job or you're too small for the job. So if you really want to get it, you have to have a tight fit. Right? We can talk more about it, but yeah, let's open it to the others.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Actually, Francis, I have two questions. One is that from your presentation, I know that capability is very important. So, because I'm also working as an HR, so how an MBA program can help me to further advance? Because many of my friends told me that taking an MBA program can't earn back, 賺唔返. They would say something like that because they took the fee, the cost is too high.
Yeah.
And whether it is so important for an academic advancement or the work experience is really that matters, the pay or climbing up the ladder. This is the first question.
Please take this one now.
I think I'm currently the MBA admission director in Hong Kong who interviewed the most number of candidates over the last 5 years, so I can explain that thoroughly. First of all, your friend's analysis may not be correct because the value of MBA program is not just, I keep telling candidates, I actually don't care about your first month's salary or the right after MBA salary or the post MBA salary. What we believe the value is to accelerate you to go through the ladder that Francis mentioned. You can break through classes and then you go into management and then you go to the executive level. So the value is you are ahead of some of this. Generally speaking, most of the graduates, so I'm not saying everybody will become a CEO. So most of the graduates would break through classes and layers and then they eventually become an executive. If you add up the additional so-called pay or other non-monetary return like job satisfaction and power and things like that, over the next 30 years, think about this, Francis mentioned about he's been working for like 30 years. So that is the kind of return, right? Not just the first month after the MBA comparing to the last month before your MBA. So that is the way you compare. And in many cases, for example, you're an HR professional. I assume you are an HR manager, for instance. In my experience, I talk about this all the time. If you just know HR, you know nothing about strategy, overall organization, and you don't understand the CEO and so on and so forth, it's actually very hard for you to become the HR director. So that helps you to accelerate you to become an HR director, assuming that you really like the HR profession. So that is the value of the program. So you just don't calculate kind of a simple equation, right? The salary, the paycheck before and the paycheck right after. So I think that is what we mean as somebody who's running MBA programs.
Believe me, the only chance that you don't get your value back to take an MBA is that you decided to take an MBA, and the day you graduate, you decided to get married and stay at home. That's how you don't get your value back.
So, ladies in the middle,
the last question.
Would you recommend people to change to another field and start as an associate when you have spent that like 5 years experience in the other field that you are very good at? And suddenly I found myself kind of interested in our field.
Okay, the short answer is yes. The short answer is yes. But a word of precaution, make sure that what you say, I'm really good at this and I want to change to another field, it's not an impulsive decision. It is really something that matches your life interest and you really see a future in it, and then you ask yourself a few times, will I regret? If I quote my example, I was an engineer for 10 years. I was a chartered engineer. I was an engineering manager overseeing the whole workshop with 140 people reporting to me. I did not make the decision. I did not make decisions just like that. 3 months. I slept over it. 3 months. And then, at the end of the 3 months, I said, that's it. I'm going to give it a go. So, yes, the short answer is yes, but be cautious. Confirm that it's something you really want to venture into, and you confirm that that's where I'm going.
Will the company employ such people?
Then you have to look for the right opportunity, right? I was lucky. I was offered the opportunity because I was so determined.
I can explain that, like I know Francis has another appointment to go to, so let's thank him for sharing his thoughts and wisdom with us. I can come back to your question, because I deal with that a lot in MBA interviews, and I can explain that. I know Francis has a time pressure.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you so much. So thank you very much for your attention. It's really a pleasure sharing with you. Thank you.
I can just come back to this question because it's a very common question among typically MBA candidates or applicants. I heard a term that you use, sort of interested in something else, sort of interested. So make sure you're really interested. And the interest is not just based on money. A lot of people say, one of my common questions in MBA interviews, Tell me 3 reasons why you want to join iBank other than money. Okay? So make sure you're really interested, not just sort of, or you think you know that target company or industry you think you'd like to join after you've been working on what you're doing for 5 years. Make a pretty detailed analysis. Okay? So don't just overheard, oh, somebody next to me is joining so and so, he seems to be interested, that seems to be interesting, he seems to be happy. A lot of your friends will not tell you when they got fired by iBanks. They'll buy you good dinner and give you a new card when they got a new employment. So be very rational about what you want to do if you want to change career. I think you're talking about career switch or change career. There are no doubt a good number of people who would, they've been doing something for the first few years, engineering, IT, something else. It's more difficult in Hong Kong to switch, as this young lady has mentioned. People come on to experience. Why do I want to hire you to do derivative trading? Because you have not done that before. Why do I want to do that? Why do I want to give you opportunities, chance? Why do I have to be patient enough to wait for you to go through the learning curve and start producing some value? People don't owe you that opportunity. You have to earn that. Right? So build on the experience. You have to find the right fit. We can talk about the way you present yourself. To be honest, the way you present yourself in terms of your communication with potential employers would humiliate certain type of employers. Yeah, because of the cultural differences, the way they perceive your response, things like that. So, and they will not tell you, by the way. Yeah, they will not tell you. Honestly, I don't always tell candidates why I failed them for the admission. It's actually quite hard to find out the truth. It's like, in some cases, you are chasing some boyfriends or girlfriends and they never tell you the real reason why they do not want to go together with you. Is that right? Yes. Right? I mean, it's human nature, right? Same as employer, same as boss, right? They don't always tell you the full truth or the real truth, right? You have to deduce it from the experience, the feelings, and all these things. So, just to kind of go back to your question, I mean, about that. We do have students who are coming to the MBA program because they want to make a switch from A to B. And that's a long process, by the way. It's not just because of MBA certificate. We have a full-fledged career management center, and Francis was talking about career planning analysis. We have a well-organized center who help our students because we want to make sure we run through psychometric tests with our students. We actually have a consultant right out there tonight because they're actually providing coaching to our current students about career planning, analysis, what fits you, what doesn't. You have to know yourself. You have to do that. I mean, and don't just listen to some myth or superficial information you find on a website. You overheard somebody's making so much money after joining Goldman Sachs, things like that. So don't just draw some conclusions based on a very narrow piece of information. I just heard one guy joining McKinsey after MBA, but think about how many guys who failed to join McKinsey after MBA, right? So be rational and sensible. We have a little coffee serving outside, and snacks, and please enjoy it, and then we can have a further chat. Yeah.
Yeah, since you're talking about MBA, what would you suggest? What is the best time to the MBA program?
Now, think about Francis' analysis chart. It was a very good chart. He mentioned that most people, in the first few years, you start doing a particular functional task. Okay, you are an HR executive, you are an auditor, you're an engineer, you're an IT programmer. So you're doing a particular task. You're assigned to do certain things, right? Remember that kind of three-layer chart? When you want to move into the second layer, like become a manager, so you start coordinating the whole department, people management, interacting between your department to another department, things like that. That is probably the right. If you think, okay, I only have like functional skills, I only know HR, or I only know auditing, I only know engineering. I'm pretty good at that. I got promoted from engineer to senior engineer. But when you think you have a chance to become a manager, or you think you have the skills to become a manager, and you need something on that, MBA, that is the right time for MBA. Okay? So, because afterwards, you're not doing just a functional job. You're not just performing a task. You are organizing the whole thing and then managing the whole department. Most of the department managers, most of the time, they're not doing it by themselves. They're finding the right people and motivating the right people to do the job by the team. So it's a bit like when you're trying to become what kind of sport do you like?
Like running.
Do you do any team sport? No? A good example would be, you're a pretty good football player. You've been playing for a while, okay? You play well, you're a good goalkeeper, you're a good scorer, whatever, right? At the time you think, okay, but like what Francis mentioned, do you think any good football player could become a coach or the manager? Exactly not. So, but by the time when you want to become a manager, then you need some management skills, organizational skills. And bear in mind that many good coaches in any sports, they are not necessarily the best player in that particular sport. Agree? Right? You agree with me? So that is, and that tells the difference. So that's the time when you think about this, and that will add on what you're doing. Good. Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming to our town center. Please enjoy the coffee and snacks outside, and we can have further chats. And if you want to ask me, we know the local market well as the longest business school in Hong Kong, longest established business school in Hong Kong. We deal with employers every single day about employment and what are they looking for, things like that. And we know pretty much the stories behind why you got employed or why you don't got employed, and these company trends, requirements, and so on and so forth. Anyway, thank you for coming.